Cubics. That was one thing we requested, is that we would see more of sum and difference of cubes. So we're going to show that. We're going to show how to factor and then using factoring to solve. All right? Now first up, I had you make a list of perfect cubes from 1 cubed all the way up to 10 cubed. Those need to start becoming familiar. Okay? When I have something like this, it's 2 terms. First thing I always look for whenever I'm factoring is GCF. None exists. So now I have to look through my Rolodex. Y'all don't even probably know what that means, but of options here for factoring. The only thing I can look for when I'm adding 2 terms beyond GCF is the sum of perfect cubes. Good news, we got it. My advice, if we use the formulas using A and B, identify what your A is first and your B is first. If this represents A cubed and this is B cubed, I cube root this to find A. Well, it would be 4x. Cube root of that would be 3. Once I know that, it's so much easier to use the formula. We gave a little tip. We said SOP. It goes same sign, opposite, positive. Meaning this is the sum of cubes. So my first quantity is 4x plus 3. Followed by a trinomial of a squared, opposite sign, a times b, and then positive b squared. Done. It's that simple. But again, why was it simple? Well, I found the perfect cubes, and I know the formula. That's it. If you know it, it means you studied. I know that dirty S word. If you don't know it, well, you didn't study. It's plain and simple. So let's take a look at this one. Solving. Looks a little funnier, right? Well, my first piece of advice, let's get everything on one side. Let's set it equal to 0. If we're trying to find a 0, let's make it equal 0. I'll bring the 24x over. First step of factoring, I always look for GCF. Hello, it works. We can pull the 3x out, leaving me with x cubed minus 8. Difference. Now I could look for a difference of perfect squares. Those aren't perfect squares. They are, however, perfect cubes, meaning my A would be x and B would be 2. And if I know the formula from here, it flies. This would become my SOP. Remember SOP, same, opposite, positive. A minus B, because we are using subtraction. My A squared, now same, opposite, plus 2x, positive B squared, which is 4. And don't forget that 3x you pulled out. Now I'm done factoring. That's as far as it will factor. If you do the perfect cubes correctly, that trinomial should not factor. Now it's time to solve. And some of this is easy. When will 3x equal 0? Well, that represents the root x equals 0. When will x minus 2 equal 0? Well, that represents the root x equals 2. I can't factor. Who cares? I don't. Quadratic formula. All day long. All day long. Here we go. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 4, minus 4ac, which is 16, all over 2a, which is 2. Start simplifying. We get negative 2 plus or minus. That gives me negative 12. We're going to be smart here. If you break down negative 12, you get 2i square root 3 all over 2. Notice they all reduce by 2. So my final root is negative 1 plus or minus I root 3. And there are my 1, 2, 3, 4 roots. But I couldn't have gotten there unless I knew how to factor the difference of perfect cubes. Quick little rundown using both formulas, how to identify your A and B, plug and chug. Hopefully it helps.